Welcome to the Unbreakable Mind and Body podcast. I am your host, Tiana Gonzalez, a multi-passionate creative, storyteller, and entrepreneur with a fierce love for movement. This is our space for powerful stories and actionable strategies to help you build mental resilience and elevate your self-care practice. Together, we will unlock the tools that you need to create an unbreakable mind and body. Hello and welcome to the Unbreakable Mind and Body podcast. I am your host, Tiana, and this is episode 90, and this is the first video podcast episode for the show, for me. This is a big deal, and we're going to talk about it in today's episode. So welcome. If you are watching this episode, you are in my humble abode, and I tried to clean it up as best as possible. I've got my room divider behind me, and yeah, that's my coffee pot in the back. But if you are listening and you're not interested in watching the video, you could always tune in and watch later. But, if you're driving or you're doing some multitasking, I want you to stay focused and just stay with me right now. We're going to dive into this topic today, and we're going to talk about why I'm making the change. What was I resisting? What was I telling myself about doing the show as an audio only, a voice only show for so long versus making it into a video show, and why the change now? So sit back, relax, grab your coffee, and let me tell you a little story. So for a long time, I kept telling myself that voice only was the best way for me to share my stories with you, that I was able to create something more intimate, something a little more personal, to create a closer connection with you, to really invite you to sit down and strip away appearances and strip away the technical side of it and really just tune in to my voice, to my stories. No camera, no lighting, no distractions, just my voice in your ear while you're walking your dog, folding your laundry, driving, maybe you're getting ready for work. That's what I believed, and I was half right. But as you know, I am someone who asks myself a lot of questions all the time. We spend so much time in our brains. We think thousands of thoughts a minute. And I got to a point where I was thinking about what I was telling myself about keeping this show as audio only or voice only versus making it a video podcast. Now, I was calling it intimacy. I was really in this place where people are craving connection. After 2020, after so many of us being displaced, so many of us rearranging our lives, so many of us having to pivot. Remember, pivot was the big word in 2020. And we have not fully recovered from that. It's over 6 years later. And in my personal opinion, living in New York State, living in the tri-state area, in the suburbs of New York City, we have not recovered from that. And we probably will not fully recover from that. So many of us have been traumatized. We lost loved ones. And our jobs are a little bit different now. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we're craving connection. And one of the things that has been paramount to the way that I do things is to create a safe space for the people that are in front of me, for the people that I'm working with, for the people that are training with me or sharing stories with me or listening to my show. Connection is the most important piece of it. And so I thought to myself, well, if I take away the appearance part, if I take away the production, meaning the cameras, the lighting, the background, the outfit, the hair, the makeup. I mean, if you know me at all, you know I am vain, and I don't try to deny that. But if we stripped all of that away and we got down to the meat and potatoes, the really good stuff, what's the most important part of a podcast? It's the message. It's the story. It's the through line. It's how it starts, how it is positioned in the middle, and then how it ends. And my mission with the show is to make it useful, to create a place where maybe you haven't been through something like the story that I share in the next episode or the previous episode, but maybe someday you will. And maybe when you are at that crossroads, you will think about what I shared in my own journey and what I learned from it, and it will help you. That is the point of Unbreakable Mind and Body, the podcast. But thinking further about this, I was hiding. I felt like there was this pressure to have, a high level studio for my podcast. I felt like I would have to look perfect for the show, for every episode, make sure that I'm wearing something flattering or a color that looks good against my complexion, making sure my apartment is spotless. Why? What was I hiding from? There was this internalized pressure for me to look perfect, quote unquote. And that really comes from wanting to make sure that what I put out into the world is of high quality, that it's meaningful. I'm not standing on a box sharing my story because I'm living in my victimhood. I'm sharing my story because I know there are other people out there who are afraid to admit that they're in a similar situation or they've experienced something like what I did, but they're listening. And so if we remove that facade, if we remove the appearance part, and you're only left with the words and the voice and the pauses and the breaths and sometimes the occasional fire truck that goes by my building, now it's really personal. But what about the people asking for the video? That was something that I encountered a lot of. And initially, it would make me feel a little scared. I would kind of get clammed up inside because I didn't want to do something else performative. You see, I studied dance as a kid. I got into bodybuilding. I love being on stage. My senior year of high school, I sang a solo in front of, I don't know, 300 or 400 people. It's not that I'm afraid of performing. I just did not want the performance to take away from the meaning, from the impact, from the helpfulness or the quality. And while I was framing it as a creative preference, I also was thinking about not wanting to have to be so perfect all the time. There's something to be said for rolling out of bed, having your first cup of coffee, and turning on the microphone while you're still in your pajamas. Speaking the most important things that are coming into your mind, speaking on the downloads that show up in your life, speaking on the things that are on your heart when you wake up first thing in the morning. That's important to me. But I was doing all of these gymnastics in my head. And truth be told, I have a business coach. We are in a 6-month relationship or a partnership, and I'm approaching the end of month 4. And in the interest of the rebrand, the new website, the new photos we've taken, and wanting to upgrade my podcast show in a way that could allow for more connection, here we are. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people ask. Maybe you're not one of them. Maybe you are somebody who would prefer to be listening only. But a lot of people ask me, where can they watch my podcast? And so that request really sort of wedged the door open. Now I'm using a whole new platform, same setup, but learning while I'm going is also daunting for me. I used to be someone who was such a perfectionist that I would have to know the inner workings of everything before I pressed go. I was the person who would get a new toy or a device, and I would be sitting with the manual, reading every single page before using it. For example, my phone, or when DVD players were first invented, or even the microwave. And yes, I am old enough to remember a time when none of those things existed. I came up in a time when we had record players, we had telephones that had a very long cord that would like spiral or coil, and it would stretch across the whole house. And we had cassette tapes. Eventually, VHS came out, and then you know the rest: CDs, DVDs, then cell phones. It's just been amazing to really see how things have changed and progressed. And so even with all of that being said, and how I have been able to just continue to evolve with the times, like what is expected of us, this was another thing where it was like, wait a minute, my podcast is my baby, and now I'm going to throw another loop and just change it up. Now I'm going to have to learn this whole new thing. Now I'm going to have to clean my apartment every time I want to record. Now I'm going to have to be on point. But what about the people saying, well, I wish I could watch it. I'd rather watch the show. And so that was another thing. What's the big deal? Get with the times. Learn about this new system. Learn how to do this. It can't be that hard. I have a really fun client who I train a few times a week, and she's learned a lot with me. And every once in a while, she will quote Elle Woods from the movie Legally Blonde and say, what, like it's hard or something? And I think of that often because it's true. I think that sometimes as a perfectionist, we put things in our own way, and it's a way to protect ourselves. It's a way to hide. It's a way to avoid doing the thing that you really want to do. It's a way to stall. It's a way to keep yourself busy. Even in the work that I do with one of my mentors, her name is Jamie, she'll say, hey, you just put an offer out into the world, and within the first 48 hours that you launched your offer, if the sales don't start coming in, what do? I can tell you a lot about yourself just from the actions that you take in those first 48 hours after you go live with your offer, after you launch it. Because if you are someone who has to go back and redo the website or change the wording in the email or add another bonus into the offer package or change the sales page or change how you're marketing your project, you're just keeping yourself busy, and you are probably hiding from something. And that's kind of what I was doing too. So, by the way, as I'm using this new software, or this new program, I should say, I do have notes on the screen, which is a really cool feature. And that's not how I've done it in the past. So, while it's a learning curve, it's probably a really good thing that I'm doing this, because I do feel like it's not as hard as I initially thought. Now, there's one more thing, and I think that this is important. I think that this will humanize me even more than perhaps I have in the past on previous episodes of the show. And that is thinking about doing something scary or daunting, just like I ask my clients in the gym. Well, this is the same thing. I'm doing something that I ask of other people all the time. Pick up the damn weight. Go do the thing. What are you afraid of? You can't lose. You're either going to learn or you're going to crush it. And either way, that's a win. And so that is literally what I'm doing here with my podcast, with my show, with this video aspect of it, because I am embodying the same actions, the same behavior, the same mindset that I want my clients to embrace. And when you're a beginner and when you are learning something new, you have to have grace for yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. You have to use the right kind of language and words. If you go into something saying, oh, this is going to be so hard, well, it might be. It might be hard. So what? What happens if it is hard? Then you learned something about yourself. And what is that? That's data. That's knowledge. The previous episode of this show, I'm sorry, 2 episodes ago, is called Failure is Data. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend. It's a short listen. And in that episode, I dive into this topic all the way, because failure is data for you to capture. See, we're not paying enough attention to the data. But that's literally what everything in life is. Do I like this? Yes or no? Do I want to do this again? Yes or no? Am I going to wear these pants to go do that thing? Yes or no? It is literally questions and answers. And we ask ourselves millions of questions a day. So in this instance, I'm looking at this option. I'm being challenged by my business coach to push me, to stretch me in a positive way. And let me tell you, let's go on a sidebar. And you already know I love my sidebars. My business coach, her name is Lexi, and she's based in Kansas City. She has pulled things out of me that I did not know were possible. We do things in such a different way, but it is really satisfying when we get through it. And I shared this with her on our last coaching call because I told her, this assignment you gave me was so freaking hard. And I was miserable through it. And I was grinding my teeth and I was suffering. And still, I knew that it was a good exercise. For example, I have a spreadsheet that I've created over 100 pieces of content. Yes, I did use some assistance with AI. However, almost every single piece of content that was produced by AI, I had to go back and rewrite. And I have gotten so good at understanding my messaging, my way of marketing my brand through her teaching that I don't need it anymore because I know exactly what to say. I know exactly how to deliver the message. I know exactly how to break up the caption. And I know exactly what I want the person to feel at the end of reading that caption or watching that video or going through that carousel. And that is valuable. You can't get that if you outsource your brain to a robot. The only way you get that is by doing it yourself. And yes, kids, back in the day, we used to write 10-page papers without the internet, without computers. I wrote my 10-page term paper my sophomore year on a typewriter. I remember my junior year, something was wrong with my typewriter. I didn't finish it. And I asked my English teacher, not my professor, my English teacher, can I submit my work partially written on the typewriter, partially written on the computer because my typewriter is fried? And he said, no, type it all over again. It has to be one cohesive body of work and it has to come from the same place. And we did that with our brains. Now, back in the day, this is another sidebar worth mentioning. Back in the day when we wanted to do research, we would go to the library and we would look up things in the card catalog system. I am going so far back, but let's say I wanted to learn about a certain breed of dog, and I would have to go look it up and pull out an index card, and it would tell me where in the library was books on that topic, where I could find them, what sections were they in, or where could I find old newspaper clippings that had been saved in this format. It was like this clear piece of paper. I'm really going back. Clear piece of paper, like almost like a wax paper, and it had small print on it, and you would put it underneath a light and it would zoom in and magnify. That's how they preserved old newspaper articles. I believed they called it microfilm. So you would look up the microfilm pieces, you would look up the books and the resources, you would find it in encyclopedias, and you would have to use your effing brain to write a 10-page paper. No internet, no computers, no AI, no cheating. And I think that that made me strong in a sense because you have to learn how to use your own brain and come up with things yourself. Just like with this podcast, kind of winging it, kind of figuring it out, using my notes on the side of the computer. But also, I know what I want to say. It's in my heart. So I don't really need to read off something, just like I don't really need to outsource my brain for every single thing I want to write because I don't need to, because it comes from here. And so, just like that, when you know yourself, when you know what you're capable of, when you know this is probably the upper threshold of my limit, but I'm going to try to push it. Well, now you know what you are capable of in the gym, right? So you see how it's connected? It's literally how you do anything is how you do everything. Now, I was just interviewed on a podcast yesterday with my colleague, Julia. We both work at Lifetime, and she is a nutritionist for some professional athletes. She has a podcast as well, and she teaches group classes. We really got down into it in her show. It's coming out probably mid September. And on that show, she said that statement not once, twice. How you do anything is how you do everything. And I absolutely love that. I've heard that statement before, I've declared it before, but because it was so top of mind, I'm saying it again here because I really want you to take that message and think about it. You know when you're cheating yourself. You know when you're cutting corners. You know, nobody has to look. You know, when you put your head down at night, you know what kind of person you are. You know what kind of day you've had. If you can live with your actions, with your own behaviors, when you can go to bed at night at peace, that means you have integrity. That means you can live with yourself. That means you know yourself. So, related to this, related to the podcast and going to the video, I have known for a while, sure, I could do this. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to. Now, upon doing my research in the beginning stages of this process, which quite frankly started yesterday, I'm somebody who just was thinking, and then I take action. What's funny is that my brother is literally the same way. He will think, and then he'll get to a point and he'll just be like, all right, we're going to do this. The cool thing is, as I said in the beginning of this episode, you do not need to watch the video if you don't want to. You could do the audio only route. Now, this show is available on several platforms. I'm on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and a couple others that I don't really remember the names of. So, if you don't want to watch the video, you can do audio only. If you do audio only, I believe on Apple and Spotify, you can just switch to video. So that is really, really awesome. I did not know that that was a feature or that that was a thing, but it is, which makes this even more exciting and enticing for me. Now, as far as having a perfect background and high quality sound, we're going to see how this unfolds. Again, this is my first take, my first run with this. I've never done a video podcast before. I have done tons of webinars, masterclasses, live teachings, teaching on stage, teaching on Instagram, Facebook, etc. But this is a little bit different. So bear with me if we have any technical glitches or if you hear or see something that you don't like. But this is me, unfiltered, real. My forehead's moving because I am due to go get my Botox, which is happening next week. Yay! And this is how it's going to be. Now, when you're thinking about your training or when you're thinking about that pursuit that's really, really, really important to you, the thing you dread the most is probably the very thing that's going to stretch you and grow you. The thing you are avoiding, the therapy you don't want to do, the workout you don't want to do, the diet you don't want to follow, the strict bedtime you don't want to adhere to, but you know, if you could just get over that hump, it would be so much better. This is what you have to do. Now, you're an adult, so you have to start making some choices for yourself and stop using excuses. And if you really want something, if it's heavy on your heart, then you have got to go for it. You know how I roll. You could either choose to try, give it a go, see what happens on the other side, see how things shake out, or you can continue wondering what if. I don't like to wonder what if. I would rather get to the end of my days and say, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. That was crazy. As opposed to, man, I wish I tried. I wish I tried. I'm so upset with myself that I didn't even give that a fair shake. So now that we're at episode 90 of the Unbreakable Mind Body podcast, which has been publishing an episode at least one per week since March of 2025, it's only time. It's only a matter of time. And I'm here now. We're here together. If you're watching the show, please let me know in the notes or in the comments. And remember that Perfectionism is really a trap. It's an obstacle. It's a way of hiding. It's a way of slowing down, taking action. It's a way of saying not yet. Now, remember, again, you get to choose which way you want to go here. So if you want to stick with the audio only, that's fine. The show is still fully intact. It's the same show, same honesty, same vulnerability. But if you want to watch me and look at my funny faces and see how I express myself, and I do move my eyebrows a lot, which is why when my Botox wears off, it kind of drives me nuts. But I am very expressive. Either way, I'm proud of you. I'm happy to have you as a loyal listener here. And let me go back to what I just said. I'm proud of you. And I'm proud of you because you're here with me. You're choosing to take a little time out of your day to hear a story that maybe is going to help you. Or maybe you're here because you want to be slightly moderately entertained. I can be a little funny from time to time. I don't think I'm the funniest person in the world, but I can be hysterical if you get the chance to get to know me. Now, the other thing about being vulnerable here is maybe the video version of this show is more vulnerable because we are looking, well, you're looking at me. I'm not looking at you, but maybe someday I will, but you're looking at me. And that could be vulnerable too. You're looking at the inside of my apartment, although you can't see much. I did that on purpose. But maybe, just maybe, this is another way for us to connect. And the story that I was telling myself was just a bunch of bullshit. Now, I'm not performing. This is who I am. And it would not be an Unbreakable podcast episode if I did not give you 3 things to walk away from the show with. So, number 1, what I want you to do is think about something that you've been calling a preference. And maybe you're at a crossroads with a situation in your life. You're trying to decide, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? I want you to think about, like, what are the things that are in your way? What's standing in your way? What's preventing you? What's holding you back? And I want you to get really honest with yourself about it. Now, I want you to find, number 2, I want you to find your own version of turning on the camera. Maybe there's something in your life that you're going to have to feel a bit more visible or exposed, and you're avoiding it. And I want you to take a stab at it. Now, number 3, if you're new here, I want you to pick your lane with zero guilt. You want to do the videos? Awesome. If you want to do the audio only, great. They're both the real thing. They're both fully me. They're both me unfiltered, real, raw. We might do a little bit of tweaking and editing. I have to see how this software rolls out once I get the final product after I stop recording. But either way, I'm proud to be pushing myself, to be stretching myself. And the goal for me is always to be transparent, even when I'm uncomfortable. And I've posted things on social media plenty of times where I said, like, wow, this is really uncomfortable, but I'm going to share about this. Or this is really uncomfortable and I'm talking about, body image or bodybuilding or something that I went through that really sucked. And I know that it could benefit someone out there from hearing what I went through or persevered or overcame. And so that's really the whole point of it. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this show up until now. I'm going to be continuing to practice what I preach, getting uncomfortable, stretching myself, doing the thing that's hard, doing the thing that scares me the most. Because again, I want to continue to grow and evolve. Now, I want you to know one thing. You don't have to move at anyone else's pace. And what starts to happen in our adulthood, especially if you start doing things to improve your quality of life or to level up, whether it's in your career, your personal development, you start doing therapy, you start working out, you never did that before, things are going to change for you. And when you do that, and when you begin to expand and grow and get lighter and cut off some of that dead weight, what will happen is the people closest to you and around you, they love you. And sometimes all of that stretching, all of that growing, all of that leveling up It's almost as if you're holding a mirror to them because they're looking at you and simultaneously looking back at themselves and noticing all of the things that you have that they don't have in themselves, in their own life, within themselves, the way that they think about themselves, their frame of mind, their growth mindset. They're not where you are anymore. You're not on the same level. And I want you to know that doesn't make you a bad person and doesn't make them a bad person, but it means that you may have to change the dynamic of the relationship. You may have to put some space there. You may have to put them at arm's length. You may have to limit access because you must protect yourself and those you love the most. And at the end of the day, it's like, hey, I'm going in this direction and I'm moving at a different pace. And I'd love for you to join me, but I can't force you and I can't stay here anymore. It's time for me to go. I hope you come. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this episode. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope the sound is good. I hope the video quality is up to par for your liking. We're going to keep experimenting and playing with this, but I am grateful for your time, attention each and every week. This is episode 90, and it almost blows my mind that we've done 90 published episodes. Wow. Now we're getting into the video. So it's only about leveling up, moving, growing, expanding, getting bigger, getting better, refining, and making the process the best and most optimal for me and for you, whichever venture or quest you're going on next. I appreciate your time and attention each and every week. Thank you for being here. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend because that is how I get a little bit more visibility so that I can connect with more amazing human beings just like you and grow our community. So take care, and I'll see you on the next one.